Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm the author of Learn Japanese the Hard Way. And I wanted to try this little bit different format of a video. I'm going to be interviewed by David, who is hiding behind the camera, to talk to you a little bit more about my experience of language learning. English is not my first language, and I thought that I managed to learn it pretty well without making any effort. And I'm learning Japanese. Why? Why do I learn Japanese? What do I do every day? What are my key points? What did I learn? And I wanted to kind of gather all that and capture it in a format that would make it interesting to watch. So please enjoy and keep me in the comment to tell me what you think about all that, or if you have any question. Thank you.
So tell me, how did you learn Japanese? That's a crazy language to learn. I mean, how does one learn Japanese?
It started a long time ago, and for some reason, when I was in engineering school, I was contacted by an old teacher from this school who was in a Japanese university, and he said, "Hey, let's come. It's Japanese, but every lessons, every course, and most teachers are in English. So even if you don't speak Japanese, hey, let's come to Japan." And I was like, I kind of liked Japan at the time. I'm not crazy about manga, about anime, but I like the country, the zen, the image of Japan. And I was at a moment in my life where I really wanted to jump to something completely different. And I just organized it, like no other student went there. And what I learned is, with this 1 year and a half in Japan, is that, wow, it's a crazy country. Like, I love the country, I love the people, but the language is really, really hard. And I spent 18 months in Japan, and when I came back, I was speaking English better than ever before. And it kind of frustrated me. Like, well, okay, it's cool, I'm speaking English very well. Then I went to work in America, in San Francisco. But first, how did I manage to improve my English in Japan? Like, well, that's crazy. And secondly, it was like, I miss Japan. I came back, and years after years, I missed Japan, was going stronger and stronger. And I really liked to go back, and not for just holidays. And I was thinking, what should I do? Like, what's the first step? And very obviously, it was, if I don't speak the language very well, I will not be able to find a job there. So let's start with step one, and let's learn the language. And I knew it would take me some time, but I was really naive about how long it would really take me. Right now it's been 7 years I'm studying Japanese. And there is many stuff I would love to know when I started. My idea, like, you learn a new language and you find a teacher, you find a textbook, and you go through the textbook, you learn the vocabulary, you do the exercise, and at some points, wow, you speak it. And I did like 3 hours of private lesson a week, like for 2 years, and nearly 3 years. And then I decided to go to Japan for, like, let's enjoy my newly acquired vocabulary, and I kind of speak a little bit. And I decided to go to Fukuoka and take some Japanese lesson. And the very interesting stuff is that I went to Japan after 3 years of working, and I kind of noticed that I couldn't do anything in Japanese. Like, the Japanese in the textbook are very polite, very simplified, but life is messy. And also going through learning Japanese, which is really, it's not a hard language, in the sense that there is not like crazy, difficult things that you will never be able to do, but it takes very long time. The grammar structure, the writing system, is so different from what we are used to that it takes very long for our brain to get used to this information structure. And for me, it has always been a fight between, wow, I really want to work in Japan. My vision about it was very clear, very strong. I lived there, I knew the people, I knew the atmosphere, and so I kept this in mind to keep my motivation going up. And then it was like, wow, sometimes I make progress, I'm super happy. Sometimes I don't make progress, I'm super depressed. And it has been riding that year after year after year, and keep coming back to why I really want to do it, what's there. And to summarize, for me, the learning of something difficult like Japanese to master, you have to be ready to embark on a years-long project. it's 10 years of work. It will be for me 10 years of work to do it outside of Japan. I'm not living in Japan. Right now we are in Paris. It's very hard. Most people don't speak Japanese in the street. I can't find people. I'm not immersed in Japanese unless I do it. So the secret, kind of secret sauce is for me, and I think for everybody doing that, keeping motivation very high, working on your motivations, and then the rest will come. If you're motivated, if you really want to do it, even if it's hard, then you will find a way to do it every day. So the first step is work on your motivation.
And you seem to be very interested in making this really hard for yourself.
I spent many years expecting shortcuts. Like, you want to find better working techniques. And I spent searching on the web, like how people do it, what's the secret, what's the special way to do it. And there is a few very useful tools that helps you in this process, but there is not a lot. But I learned that at some point, you have to do the hard work. And the hard work is, you need to learn the writing system, and it's 2,000 to 2,500 kanjis, the small ideograms, small characters. And then you have to learn vocabulary. And this is around 10,000 words if you want to be fluent, depending on how you count. And just these numbers, like, you can't learn more than maybe 5 to 10 words a day, depending of how much time you have. For me, it's kind of 5 words a day. It's 1,500 words a year, like 10,000 words that you need to be fluent. It's many, many years of non-stop every day working 5 words. So you have to go to do it the hard way, because there is no shortcut. It's 10,000 words.
So how do you stay motivated to get better and better, and how do you get more efficient at the way that you learn?
It's very interesting because the two are very connected, I think. And after my advice, if I could talk to myself in the past, would be focus on motivation before efficiency. Like, even if you do super inefficient stuff, if you have fun in it, you do it every day because you like it, even if it's meaningless, but it's within the language, like you like to watch TV show, but you don't understand anything, but you can do it for 10 hours, perfect. It might not be super efficient, but everything that puts you in contact with the language counts. It counts. So I would say, okay, keep motivated by, of course, knowing why you want to do it. Like for me, I've got now this emotional connection about, I know the place, I know the people. And I get, at first, this kind of like idealized idea about what Japan is. And I still keep that in mind, my child mind. Like, wow, be there, enjoy these people, enjoy the place. I love hot baths, I love the food, I love the contact with people. And every time I go there, my Japanese is better, I've got a different experience. I meet people in different way, I can exchange more. And every of this travel reinforced me in this idea. So it's kind of, I have this vision about, I will work in Japan one day. I don't know what I will do. Maybe I will work for a Japanese firm. Maybe I will just live in Japan and work remotely. But this is kind of a hedge in my mind. The second part about motivation is kind of more tactical. And I call it tactical motivation because it's like, on a daily basis, sometimes like it's super frustrating. Like you work very, very hard, 2, 3, 4 hours a day, and you start and you say, I'm making no progress, I'm spending all these hours and nothing. And that's the most critical point where people give up. Like I've been there, I've documented a little bit in this blog, that I've been through these moments of despair, like I've spent so many times doing it and nothing. But then I've put up a system in place to avoid that. Mainly is that I'm coming back to the same text, like articles I've read, and I read them every few months. And this is kind of my ruler, a way of evaluating myself. And it's very pleasing when you come back. You feel you didn't make any progress, but it's hard to see yourself, how you were in the past, how things were when you couldn't understand half of that. And by going back to some reference text that I really like and reading them back and feeling, wow, I can read them much more smoother. I understand some nuances I didn't understand. I could enjoy more the text rather than trying to understand what it means. Same for video. I see a TV show I like, I see it again. I enjoy it more because I understand. And I can remember myself. And I sometimes write it. I describe in the blog how I felt watching this TV show. And now I can compare myself and say, wow, it took 6 months, but now I feel the progress. Sure, at some point in the way I felt like, wow, it was crap, I didn't improve. But now I can feel my improvement. I can feel the result of all my hours of work. And having that really reinforce my willingness to do it and my trust in my ability to do it. Now I'm at a point where I'm sure I will succeed. I'm not fluent by my definition. I can speak pretty good to people, I can understand, I can read articles on the webs, some subject, but I know the way I'm doing it. I'm improving regularly. So as long as I do that, I'll reach a level where I'm feeling comfortable.
What has learning Japanese taught you about, the other things in your life, about how to learn or progress in other ways? Are there any parallels for you?
For me, the first things is that it made me much more confident in myself. Like, I know that I can work on something for years and go through the pains, the challenges, and still keep going. So that now when I see a challenge, it kind of doesn't scare me as much. Because I know I can just do the work. So that was kind of, wow, it's kind of a lifetime achievement for me, like learning to speak fluency Japanese outside of Japan, huge challenge. But if you can do that, like other challenges are much easier. And it really gave me a confidence in myself about dealing with complex things and long-term projects. I can do it. Second thing, it taught me a lot about daily habits. And it took me years to set up kind of the systems I'm using right now, because at first I didn't need to work a lot and I did not know how to work correctly. But now I've been setting these systems with tools who help me to really just know what to do every day at least. I've got this tool called Enki. It's a kind of automatic flashcard programs which is optimized for memorization. And I've been using it in 7 years. And this is the backbone of my learning. Every new words come from here, every review comes from here. And if I even have zero time on my day to do some other stuff, I will do this training and I will review this vocabulary every day. And just to give an order of magnitude, like in the last year, it's 700 hours. Just working on that, 700 hours. Not everybody can do that. Like for me, I found this as the way to do it. Everybody has to find his own engine of growth for that. But for me, it worked really well. It's kind of an automatic system. And of course, if I have time, I will do more fun stuff, like watching TV shows, trying to read books, and try to read website. But I know that at the very, very least, whatever happens, I will do these 2 hours. I will know exactly what I have, new words I have to review, what word I have to learn, and it's kind of no thinking involved. And it really helped. And now I'm so used to it that it's nearly 1.5 years I didn't miss a day. Like in the last 3 years, I missed 5 days. But I didn't start at this level. I start very small, very few words a day, and I get into the habit slowly. Sometimes I missed, and I went to holiday, didn't do it for a couple of weeks. I came back, it was very painful. And after a few of these mistakes, I learned. And when I was ready to ramp up the vocabulary and the learning, it was ready. It was just like, okay, just push more vocabulary every day, get ready with that. And it was super easy to scale up the learning. Wow, okay, 5 words a day. You set the cursor at 5 and just wait. And Of course, the first day it's very easy, and day after day, you accumulate. And there are nearly like 5,500 words learned. And without really thinking too much about it. So for me, the key was put the learning in autopilot. Not having to decide what to do every day, and having a core daily routine set up. But of course, it took me a really long time to get that oil perfected and automatized for me. But that would be, again, if I could restart from scratch, I would definitely take that on day one, start to learn this vocabulary, and not wait 4 years of learning vocabulary from the textbook, which is nice but not enough. So yeah, it's the key for me is these tools.
So can you give us 3 top tips to learn Japanese faster, better, with more pleasure? In Japanese.
もちろん。今から日本語全部話しましょうね。Maybe I'll do it in English too, so we can all enjoy my recommendation. My first point is not to care about efficiency, like just care about motivation. 一番大事ことはモチベーションと思います。効率的に勉強するのは大事ですけど、モチベーションない場合はよく諦めますと思います。The highest level of risk is you're not motivated enough and you lose your will to do it and you will give up. And after giving up, after stopping back, coming back on track is really hard. So the best is never stop, never give up, and focus on enjoying the journey. My second point would be learn the kanji first. Like, it's terrible, you have 2,000 to learn at least, but it's kind of the gateway. You will not be able to speak fluently Japanese or read fluently Japanese until you went through it. It takes time, it's long, it's hard, but you have to do it, no shortcut. 漢字は全部覚えてください。とても時間かかりますですけど、しなければならないので、早く始めてください。You have to start with that. It's painful, but once you have gone through that, I promise you the hardest part is done. So please learn all the kanji. High-Sich method is my recommendation, but your way to do it the way you prefer. And my last point is very simple. Is have fun with the language. It's not supposed to be hard. Like, we kind of believe that we need to work on it, it needs to be painful to make progress. It doesn't have to be hard. 外国語を勉強するのは難しくなくてもとてもいいですと思います。簡単でも、例えばビデオを見て、記事を見て、のんびりを勉強してとてもいいですと思います。Even if it's just reading books, just watching video game in Japanese, writing TV show, you don't understand but you have fun, enjoy it. If you don't have fun, if it's not fun, you will give up and it will be terrible. Because once you give up, all the effort you spent in the previous years are wasted. And when I started, I knew, like, if I start now, I should never ever stop. Because when I was in Japan, I've learned Japanese, then I stopped for years, and all this hour I spent learning Japanese were lost when I had to come back. So focus on having fun, never stop, continue, and just enjoy the language and the culture, and the rest will take care of itself. That's all.